Okay, welcome back, Rockstar Agents. Once again, before we get started, a big shout out to the folks at Annie Mac Works, Annie Mac Home Loans, and of course, their incredible loan officers. Without them, without their dedication and commitment to our professional development, none of this would be happening. So make sure we pay them a little love and respect whenever we can. A couple of housekeeping things. You will be directed at the end of the training. There will be a link to take the 10-question quiz. Now, don't panic and don't be nervous because you will get a 100% on the quiz. I guarantee it. If you have any questions or there are any problems, we will work with you so that every single agent gets a 100% grade on the quiz. It is imperative that you know this information, black and white, stone cold. We must protect the integrity of the certification. So we need all of the certified agents that are out there to know this information, front and back. This is the second session of the Consumer Credit Expert Certification. Listen, you're 30 minutes away from becoming a certified consumer credit expert. You're 30 minutes away from becoming a better agent. You're 30 minutes away from learning how to close more transactions than you thought were possible, previously. This is going to be awesome. So I just want to play, this video because I think it's a great reminder of what can happen if there's an actual credit fail during the home buying process. So just take a look at this. When your buyer finances a car 10 days before closing, and I say it with a grain of salt, I chuckle, but if you've ever had this happen to you, you realize how crucial it is to make sure that, we've crossed all our T's, we've dotted our I's, and that nothing is going to happen in the 11th hour during this process. It's the worst feeling in the world when you lose a deal because your buyer did something. You lose a deal because something happened with their credit that may have been avoidable. So in the second session, we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to go back to the exam, the 10 questions. We're going to go over it so you know this information. You're going to nail it down. We're going to talk about what you're going to do now that you are a certified consumer credit expert. We're going to talk about some scripts. And the easiest thing for me to talk about when I talk about scripts is I'm just going to give you one. And then you and I can work on this moving forward. But no longer when somebody asks you what you do for a living, are you simply going to reply, I'm a realtor. From now on, you might want to say something like, I'm a dedicated real estate professional with a consumer credit expert certification. And what that means is that I can work with every single person. It's easy to work with the 700s, right? But if people have credit issues, I can work with them. And if I can't help them today, you can bet I can help them tomorrow. Marketing. This is such a crazy buzzword. Everyone talks about it. SEO, Google AdWords, Facebook, Instagram, social media, marketing, marketing, marketing. Let's just remember one thing. Marketing is a tool. And it's one of those tools, you use them or lose them. This tool goes away if you don't use it. This tool becomes weaker and weaker and weaker if you don't use it. And last but not least are the action plans. This might be the most important part of what we talk about today. Because without action, let's face it, knowledge is not power, right? Applied knowledge is power. So we have to come up with an action plan, and the simplest way to do that is to develop a 30, 60, and 90-day plan. And you're going to review that plan 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. You're going to develop the plan, and then you're going to execute that plan. So let's start with the exam. Let's get this out of the way. This is the nuts and bolts of why we're here today. I want you all to become consumer credit experts, right? I'm a certified FICO pro. I'm considered the nation's credit repairman. I've been doing this for 14 years. So I feel that if you can answer these 10 questions, okay, without hesitation, with confidence, that people will look at you as if you're a consumer credit expert. And it becomes very, very, real when you can do that. So, question number 1. What are the 5 main categories on a credit report? So, remember, all credit reports are different. They're laid out differently. They contain different things, but they all have these 5 main categories. So, in your mind, you're going to find each category, and you're going to make sure that everything is perfect. So the first category is the identifying information. Of course, we need to know the name, the address, the date of birth, the social security number. All of that information has to be 100% accurate and verifiable. And this is what I mean by verifiable. If your client can't verify an address, a previous address, an address that's associated with their social security number, it could be a red flag for identity theft. If the information is not 100% accurate, we have to make sure that it's accurate. We have to contact the credit bureaus and make sure that the information gets changed so it's 100% accurate. If there are names and addresses, again, that the client cannot verify, one of the first things an identity thief will do is change the name just a little bit and change an address so it's associated with that social security number. So in the future, if they open up an account fraudulently, that information is going to get sent to a different address, and we don't want that to happen. So it's really important, the first part of that credit report, the identifying information, 100% accurate, and it's verifiable. The second part is going to be the trade lines. So this is the actual account information. What's the name of the creditor? Is it a bank? Is it an auto financing company? What's the name of the creditor? What type of account is it? Is it revolving or an installment contract? Is it a mortgage? Is it an auto financing? What was the principal balance? What's the current balance? When was it open? When was the date of last activity? So you need to make sure that the information in those trade lines is also 100% accurate. The third section, collections. Sometimes there's an actual separate section for all of the collections that might be on someone's credit report. Sometimes that information is contained in the actual trade line. So if there is not a separate section for collections, this is where you need to make sure that you're going through the trade line and you make sure that the status of that trade line is accurate. Is it being paid on time? Is it open? Is it closed? Were there any late payments? Is it actually in collections? Was it a repossession? So make sure if there's not a separate section for collections themselves that you verify each and every status of the trade lines. Also remember that paying off a collection that is more than 2 years old can actually lower the credit score. A big mistake that I see made by agents is that if they're working with somebody in the beginning, they might say something like, hey, if you have any collections, you have to go ahead and pay those off as soon as possible. And that might actually hurt the client. Remember, what should happen if someone has a collection account or any type of defaulted debt, judgments and charge-offs and tax liens, it should go through a verification and validation of debt process first. And if the debt is verifiable and it's been validated, then the client can pay it off. Also remember that they shouldn't pay it off in full. The damage has already been done to their credit, so they should go ahead and come up with some type of settlement plan for that debt. And usually you'd want to pay no more than 50 cents on the dollar. The fourth section, inquiries. we spoke about this in the first session. Inquiries have really gotten a bad rap lately. And one of the reasons is from these consumer sites like Credit Karma. They wanted everybody to believe that they might die if they had one more inquiry on their credit report. Now, I am not saying that you should let every single person who asks you to run their credit, to let them run their credit. What I am saying to you is that the information that's on those credit reports, if you're actually applying for a line of credit, whether it's a mortgage, auto financing, you have to let someone pull your credit, okay? And can it lower your credit score? Yes, it may. There are hard inquiries and there are soft inquiries. That's probably the biggest thing to remember about inquiries. Hard inquiries are going to happen anytime that someone is pulling your credit when it's associated with applying for some type of financing. Inquiries can stay on your report for up to 2 years, and it's the inquiries from the previous 12 months that are really going to determine whether or not your scores come down at all. The fifth section, public records. You need to find this section, okay? You can't just scan through the report, and if you don't see it, assume that there are no public records. There will always be a separate section for public records, and it's either going to list the public records, like a bankruptcy, like a judgment, a tax lien, or it's going to say there are no public records. Remember, in session 1, we spoke about the National Consumer Assistance Program. And this happened, back in July. And what NCAP said, the bureaus agreed that they would no longer report matters of public record, specifically civil judgments and tax liens. This is an awesome thing to talk about. This is an awesome discussion topic. You can bring this up any party, any office, anywhere, and ask people, hey, did you know that civil judgments and tax liens should no longer be reported on someone's credit report? And then you can tell them why you know that. So that's the 5 main categories that are on someone's credit report. The 5 main components of a consumer credit score. The first piece of the pie, right? No one knows the exact formula, but they do tell us the things that count the most towards the credit score. And the first thing, 35% of the score is your payment history. Let's face it, if you want a high credit score, you got to pay your bills on time. Let's remember that a 30-day late payment can cost somebody 100 points. You can pay your bills on time for 10 years. If you get a 30-day late payment, you're going to lose 25, 50, 75, maybe 100 points. A 30-day late payment will happen and will get reported to the credit bureaus if you fail to make the payment 30 days after the due date, typically, before the next payment is due. So you got to avoid the 30-day late payments. 60 days or even worse. 90 days, scores are dropping rapidly. Typically, after 120 days, the account is going to go into collections. The second piece, this is your utilization ratio. Remember, folks, 30% is the magic number here. Keep your credit card balances at a minimum of 30% of the credit limits. The lower you go, the better off you are. Remember, once you go over 30% of your credit limits, once your balances are over 30% of your credit limits, the example, you have a $1,000 credit limit. Once you go over $300 on your balance, your scores are going to start to come down. 50%, 75%. Once you max out a credit card, if you go over the credit limit by $1, again, you could lose up to 100 points off your credit score. So the utilization ratio is key because FICO, right, that's the name of the scoring model, they don't know anything about our income. What they do know is how much credit we have available and how much we use on a monthly basis. What are the names of the big 3 credit reporting agencies? The credit bureaus. Remember, folks, these are not government bureaus. They have no government affiliation certification at all. They are privately held and publicly traded for-profit companies. They're nothing more than giant data corporations. TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. What is the acronym for the most commonly used scoring model? FICO, 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 right? There are thousands of FICO scores out there, but the FICO scoring model is the one that is used 95% of the time, not only in mortgage underwriting, credit cards, auto financing, insurance. So we need to know what our FICO scores are, and we need to know what our clients' FICO scores are. What is the name of the credit score model developed by the credit bureaus themselves? That's the Vantage score. It is coming. It's coming sooner than later. Tremendous pressure on the financial institutions to adopt a second scoring model, and that is going to be the Vantage score. The last questions are true and false. The credit bureaus are government agencies. We just talked about that. That is absolutely false. Paying off a collection that is over 2 years old can hurt your score. That is absolutely true. New accounts will lower your average account age and can lower your credit score. This is true. So one of the other pieces of that scoring model is new accounts. And typically, an account that's open for less than 6 months is going to lower the score. Inquiries can lower your credit score. This is true. Income affects your credit score. False. We just spoke about it. The only thing that FICO knows is how much available credit we have and how much we're using. So when you look at payment history, you look at utilization ratio, you look at account history, credit history. Remember, closing a credit card is usually the single worst thing that the average person can do, because you just had a negative impact on 45% of the scoring model. Credit history, which is 15%, and your utilization ratio, which is 30%. So don't close any accounts without analyzing the credit report. Don't open any accounts. And typically what I say to people that are in the window of purchasing a home, don't do anything to your credit. Don't open any new cards. Don't close any cards. Basically the only thing you should do is continue to pay down those credit card balances as fast as you possibly can. So here's some of the action that you have to take over the next 30, 60, and 90 days. Consider going into a niche market, right? So become the go-to real estate agent in any niche market. I saw the certifications had to do with a pet certification. Do your clients, are they dog owners? Are they pet owners? Do they have any kids? Are they divorced? Whatever that niche may be, you're now going to incorporate your consumer credit expert certification. You can make a name for yourself regarding a specific niche, okay? And you will become memorable within that niche, especially within the saturated zip codes, right? If you're fighting tooth and nail, a highly competitive market, what is going to make you stand out from the crowd? Well, your consumer credit expert certification is probably one of the best tools that's going to help you develop a niche market. Use emotional storytelling. I can't stress this enough. I've been doing it for 14 years. I do it on every major media outlet, ABC, CBS, Fox Business News. I tell stories. Humans respond to stories. And if you can tell a good one, clients are going to flock to you. So there is no better emotional story than talking about how you helped somebody fix their credit, get out of debt. You help them rent an apartment. You help them buy a home. You help them realize the American dream. Consider hosting a webinar. Okay, just think about it for 1 second. What is the reason why you're on this webinar? Because you wanted to become a consumer credit expert. And you wanted to become a consumer credit expert because you realize how important credit is. So just think about posting something like that on social media, that you're going to host a webinar to teach people about their credit, how they can prepare themselves to rent an apartment, to buy a home. Remember, the top 3 complaints to the FTC year in and year out for over a decade is credit reporting, okay? Inaccurate credit reporting, identity theft, and debt collection. So we're going to wrap all 3 of those complaints up in your certification. And remember, if you have a solution to a problem, and when you're talking about millions of people, right, in this country, the top 3 complaints are something that you now have a grasp on. You now have a solution to their problems. You have a solution to a problem that millions of people have every single year. Marketing, strategies. You know, there is no other industry where the marketing is as hyper-local as real estate. And one of the first things you have to realize as a realtor is you're a media company first, right? You need to make sure that you're branding yourself, that you're marketing yourself, you're promoting yourself. You know, you want to get the maximum exposure yourself. Let everybody know who you are. And then you're going to tell them what you do. And remember, you're a dedicated, great professional that is certified as a consumer credit expert. Here's a couple of real important things to really fully grasp. Every single day in every single community, there are journals that are going out. There are existing events where you can actually get some free advertising and exposure because you can plug yourself into these journals. They're always looking for good content. And if you approach somebody in the local government and you say, hey, listen, I actually have a solution to one of the biggest problems in this community, and that's the people that are struggling with debt. They're struggling to understand how to get their credit scores up to where they need to be, to rent an apartment, to buy a house. I have the solution to that. They will listen to you. Whether it's unions, associations, organizations, and corporations, when you approach them and you let them know that you can work with all of their members, right? You're not there just to become their agent. You're there to become a solution to their problems, and you can work with all of their members. That's what they want to hear. Whether it's a VFW, an American Legion, the Kiwanis Club, you know, the local electrical union, it doesn't matter. When you approach these people and you let them know that you have a solution for all of their members, you will become their go-to agent. But you're going to do that by providing them with a very, very valuable resource. And that is being able to help somebody fix their credit, build, manage, and monitor their credit. Of course, make your presence felt online. You know, I can't stress it enough. I don't want to beat the dead horse. We all know the power of the internet. We all know the power of social media. Organizing events for consumers, we just spoke about a little bit, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a home buying seminar, whether it's an event, just to have people be able to pull a free credit report and have the credit analysis and consultation on the spot with them. This is powerful, powerful stuff for you as an agent. A lot of agents, you know, that I speak to, they kind of get caught at this intersection of marketing and strategy. A lot of times the tools, but we don't put together the strategy that's going to help us let everybody know what marketing tools we have. So I find it best when we're talking about marketing ourselves as a consumer credit expert, get back to basics. You know, you got to get up, you get dressed up, and you show up every single day with your certification, and you let people know that you can help them. And if you can't help them today, you're going to help them tomorrow. There is no doubt in a couple of minutes, when you get the certification, you will have the best marketing tool there is. Everybody is concerned about their credit. So now you're going to use that tool. And here's the deal. When we're talking about someone's credit, this is sensitive, personal information. And I can't stress this enough. Now is the time to develop a video marketing piece. Whether you do it on YouTube or Facebook, you develop a vlog, which is a video blog, because people need to understand that you are sensitive and that you're going to take care of their personal information. And you can't get that from a picture on a business card or a billboard or anywhere else. When they watch a video and they look into your eyes, this is where you're going to gain their trust. You're going to gain their trust to handle their most sensitive and personal information. Here's my contact information, right? Paul Oster, FICO Pro, the nation's credit repairman. That's my email. That's my assistant's email, Mary, right? You can always email me, but if I were you, I'd email Mary because Mary is on top of her game. And I travel all over the country, so I will get back to you. But if you want an immediate answer to a question, email Mary and CC me on it. You can always call our office. You can always call my cell phone or text me. That's my cell phone number, 732-580-1359, and that's our website, betterqualified.com, right? So I want you to email me because I will need 1 or 2 sentences with some feedback on the training that you've gotten here in session 1 and 2. I will also send you my app so that I'm on your phone. I'm always a click away from a text, call, or email with any questions that you may have. I will help you build your vlog. I will help you make the marketing video. I will help you build a media kit that all of you should have. I will also send you all of the certified FICO education materials. You need to continue to educate yourself beyond this course, right? We're getting certified here today, but you need to continue to educate yourself and grow as a professional, and I'll help you do that. Here's your message moving forward, right? Buying or selling, it doesn't matter. I can help you save thousands of dollars. It's not a gimmick. It's not a trick, right? You're going to allow my knowledge and expertise to work for you. When you consider the fact, Informa Research, that's the corporation that tracks interest rates on a daily basis, by the way, right? They're tracking interest rates by credit scores. And what they have found, as of today, right, the lowest rates offered on various mortgage-related loans, so the whole gamut, whether it's a home equity line of credit, a 30-year fixed, whatever it may be, those loans are being offered, the best interest rates, to people with credit scores at or higher than a 760. And let's face it, folks, it's not easy to be a 760. So we're going to help them get into the 700 club and stay at the 700 club. The lowest rates offered on various auto loans are being offered to people with scores at or higher than a 720. So when you look at the average interest rate on credit cards is 17%, when some people pay 6%, some people get 0% financing on auto loans, some people pay 15, 13%. So you're not just an agent or realtor. You're going to be able to help somebody either save or it's going to cost them money or save them money on all these financial things that they do every single month. I showed this slide in the first session, and it really speaks volumes as to what has to happen from this point forward. You have the treadmill, but now you have to turn it on. You have to use it on a daily and regular basis or you're going to wind up like the cat. So you can't just have the tool sitting there with, clothes hanging on it. You got to use it. You are now the go-to expert with an expertise in consumer credit. You can and will work with everybody in the community. You can and will help buyers, sellers, and all of the dreamers, in closing, please remember that sometimes good people have bad credit, and credit should not define you as a person. It's simply a history of our credit data. It has nothing to do with our socioeconomic status or our morals and integrity, but it does affect so much of our lives that we need to become consumer credit experts. Folks, once again, thank you so much to the people at Annie Mac Works, Annie Mac Home Loans, their loan officers. Reach out to their loan officers. Make sure that you're working together as a team so that your clients can maximize the benefits associated with higher credit scores. If you have any questions, shoot an email to service@anniemacworks.com. Again, if you have any questions, shoot a quick email to service@anniemacworks.com. Stay tuned. The link for the quiz, the 10-question quiz, will come up there. Make sure you go on there, take the quiz. If you have any problems at all, you can shoot an email to service@anniemacworks.com, or you can reach out to myself or Mary. Thank you so much. Have a great day.